Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot stop your new clients from emailing you at 3 a.m. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you be in 3 places at once. And while we can't help you organize your calendar, LinkedIn can help you land more clients so you have a calendar to organize. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/smallbusiness.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, this is a hypnosis session that uses a protocol and modality that is normally done person to person. And it's designed to release the somatic feeling of emotion. And I was working with a client that had a severe feeling of anxiety when it came to driving. But what's interesting is that when they would attempt to drive, they had a feeling of sunstroke, this kind of feeling of dizziness, of heaviness, of fatigue, real physical sensations, and they also felt sick. They felt unwell. Now, these were feelings locked inside the body. So this uses a protocol called Kinetic Shift. Kinetic Shift was created by Carl Smith. Carl Smith is a UK-based trainer. I've seen Carl many times at various hypnotherapy conferences, and normally he will actually do this physically. He'll get them to kind of point to where they feel the sensation in their body. This client was over Zoom, so it uses a metaphor, 2 metaphors in fact, about releasing pressure and releasing tension, but also submodalities with this idea of it leaves the body. And then an element of future pacing, so they could imagine what they are then capable of doing once they've released this. Now, the essence of Kinetic Shift is to release an internal somatic feeling within the body and to dissipate that. So it's going to be more useful if you can feel anxiety, or if you can feel stress, or if you can feel overwhelmed. And it works really well in those kind of contexts. And if you like the idea of learning more about it, just Google Kinetic Shift and you're going to find lots more information about this protocol. For now, though, you might get some value from this session, but be aware of 2 things. One, the issue related to the client was driving anxiety, and their physical sensations may not be your physical sensations. So you might get some inspiration from this, but if you like the idea of a bespoke session just for you, just to release any of these intrinsic emotions or sensations and let them go, there will be a link in the show notes where you can find out more information about working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyes to close. That's right. And with your eyes closed, you can focus more on the sound of my voice and the rhythm of your breathing. And just imagine breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension. Each breath allows you to drift deeper and deeper relaxed. And as you breathe in and breathe out, scan your body for any clues of pressure, tension, stress, overwhelm, and give permission to allow that to be released when it's ready. And I want you to imagine there on a beach, a large bucket. And just imagine that large bucket is empty. And if you were collecting shells, it's got plenty of space for one more shell. You could have 100 more shells and there would still be enough space. But what if that bucket was never emptied and it accumulated with more stones and more shells and then more and then more? And I want you to imagine that bucket filled to the top, so much so that even just one more shell would just fall off the bucket back to the shore. And I want you to get a sense that the bucket is the capacity to handle life. If the bucket is full, even one shell can be overwhelming. But what if the bucket was emptied? Suddenly, what was challenging in one moment would be more than capable in another. And I want you to get a sense that you've gone through a lot over these last few years. That your capacity has been huge. And the evidence of that is what you've achieved in life. Your capacity was a very large bucket. But sometimes the bucket fills up. A health scare, a limitation, a challenge, and sometimes these things feed on each other. Worrying about one thing, colliding with a limitation somewhere else, can mean that that bucket that was more than spacious enough to handle life starts to get close to the brim. And I want you to imagine seeing there on that same beach a big hydraulic steam engine. Think of it as a giant pressure cooker there on the beach. And I want you to see a dial. The kind of dial that has one of those needles that kind of moves up and down. And I want you to see that it has a gauge, a green zone, an amber zone, and a red zone. And for most of your life, that needle was stable there in the green zone. But life is never easy. It has some surprises, challenges, difficulties, adversity. And you know that because something that was easy and straightforward in your 20s and 30s seemed to be more challenging in more recent years. Not because you forgot how to do something, but because the pressure cooker was building up the pressure. And sometimes a thought about what you can or can't do, a worry of an emotional state in the worst possible place, can pile on the pressure to something already growing in pressure. And I want you to see that for valid reasons, nothing irrational, that pressure cooker has been building and building until you see it hovering there in the red zone. Not every day, sometimes it's amber, sometimes it's green, but it can get to that red zone. And when it does, you feel it. You feel it in your head, the back of your neck. You feel drained and woozy. And as you look at this bucket filled with stones and shells, full to the brim, and you see this pressure cooker there in the red zone, I want you to stare at these, and I want you to try and locate that feeling, a feeling of overwhelm, of pressure, of stress. Feel it in your body, maybe in your head, back of your neck. Feel it in your body. And what we're going to do is we're going to release not your capabilities or your capacity, but release the excess pressure. But for now, let's amplify it. Sometimes it's good to amplify so that it can be released. That's it. Stare at the bucket. Stare at the dial, shaking like a seismograph there in an earthquake. And just get the sense that you are about to release. That's it. Locate the feeling of this pressure, stress, and overwhelm. Just turn your attention inward. And I want you to get the feeling of how you would feel if you were driving on a motorway, or perhaps feeling exhausted after driving more than you normally would. Just allow the feeling to be present as an awareness. It's there. And where do you notice it in your body? You don't need to overthink it, just let your attention land somewhere. The head perhaps, the chest, the gut. Wherever it makes itself known. And if that feeling of being close to the limit had a shape to it, a color, a texture, a temperature, what would it be? And don't worry about getting it right, just whatever comes. And as you feel those emotions within you, see the dial cranking up to the red zone. That dial is measuring how much of your system's capacity and energy is currently being used to hold this feeling, to hold the guard up, to keep watch. And maybe it feels sometimes like you're using most of your power to thinking, mitigating, avoiding. What if that adds more shells and stones to the bucket and more pressure to the gauge? Almost like there's very little for anything else. For choice. For the parts of you that know how to handle things. For the you that used to drive comfortably on a motorway without a second thought. But here's the interesting thing. The bucket doesn't have to remain full. And the needle doesn't have to stay there in the red zone. What if this is there for a reason? A very good reason. But the reason belongs to a different time. And what if today we allow the dial to find a more useful setting? I want you to imagine what it would feel like to empty the stones and shells from the bucket, or to allow the pressure in the pressure cooker to be released. And maybe it comes with the sound of a hissing sound of that pressure being released, or the sound of the shells and stones being emptied from the bucket there onto the shore. And as the bucket increases its capacity and the dial moves from red to amber to green, I want you to notice what happens in your body. A feeling perhaps changes. A color, a brightness, a temperature starts to reduce. In fact, the harder you try to get that feeling back, the more you are actively releasing it. Think about that. Just imagine a release valve where your head meets the top of your spine. Imagine it right there. And just feel the sensation of a balloon being deflated. All of that pressure being released. Almost like a weight is being lifted off your shoulders. That if that camel carrying all of that straw had the straw being taken from its back, the camel doesn't want the back to be broken. It got strong carrying all of that straw. But imagine the straw being taken off the camel, the pressure valve being released, the bucket being emptied, and feel how you would feel if that was happening, not as a thought or an idea, but within you, that your capacity is increasing, your pressure, your weight is being released. As the needle drops, resources that were tied up begin to flow back, like pressure releasing from a system that's been overloaded. And maybe the heat begins to soften, or tightening in the chest starts to ease slightly, the gut feeling more settled. And with each twitch of the dial slowing and going down, you have more capacity, more space, more of you available to work with what we're going to explore next. And when the bucket arrives with lots of capacity, it doesn't need to be empty. And with that, dial down to a reasonable level. It doesn't need to be zero, just showing capacity. Let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And now with that more capacity, more space, more resources inside you, let's locate a part within you. I want you to turn your attention back to the area around your head. And rather than experiencing what was there as a problem, I'd like you to approach it the way you might approach someone who is working very hard to protect someone they love. You've done that. You worked hard to protect someone you loved. Imagine there's a part within you trying to protect you. Perhaps that part knew every now and then you were getting close to your limits. And maybe that part thought driving on a motorway would be the worst place to reach those limits. And I want you to thank that part for its wonderful intentions. It's aimed to help. And if that part is willing to make itself known, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And just thank that part. Not performative, but genuine. Like you would thank anyone that had a wonderful intention to try and protect you. Thank it sincerely. And ask that part if it was trying to help, trying to protect you. And if that was the intention, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And maybe it was trying to do something else as well. But I want you to thank it for its intention. But I want you to share something with that part. I want you to think of all of the sadness, distress, or loss that this part protecting you in this way has caused. Things you've struggled with, things you couldn't do, waking up in the middle of the night. And I want you to project those memories, those real emotions to that part. Not to punish it, not to shame it, but to educate it. Because I think that part didn't realize that its good intention had a consequence, a brutal consequence. making your life more difficult when it was trying to make it easier, creating more challenges when it was trying to reduce challenge. And if that part is now aware of all the consequences of protecting you in this way, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to ask that part if I can talk to it directly. And if so, just allow the part to be the dominant part within you. Not the part you're talking to, but the part I'm talking to. And if it's willing to listen to me directly, rather than through you, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. You are capable. You have a wonderful intention, and I don't think you knew the consequence of that wonderful intention. I also know how influential you are. You can create physical sensations that are powerful, that feel like an illness. That's how capable you are of protecting, deterring. And I don't think you knew the ripple effect of that, the deep sadness, the frustration, the emotional drain. And I'm wondering if you're willing to protect in a new way, rather than anxiety and avoidance. I'm wondering if you're willing to harness courage and competency. You now have the resources available to use that courage and competency that is evidently there. I want you to recall a memory of a time of pure courage. And that courage suddenly made fear and anxiety disappear because you took action. And I'm wondering if you're willing to harness that resource to create a wonderful essence of self-belief. You've been using doubt to deter. Let's use self-belief to do what's necessary to reawaken that confidence and competency that is there, and you know it's there. Because I want you to go back to a memory, a long drive in your 20s or 30s. Conditions were challenging, and yet driving was effortless. And if you're willing to harness those resources, let me know by nodding your head. You are influential, powerful, and I want you to have more responsibility, not less. By harnessing resources you don't need to avoid. And I want you to imagine a few days from now doing something you would never have done if your resources were depleted. But now you have the resources. I want you to feel tenacious, determined, galvanized. And if you're willing to utilize it in that way, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to feel it's time to return. Taking all of that capacity and resources with you. As I count from 5 to 1, you will float back feeling that you have released the pressure, increased the capacity, and connected resources to that resourceful part that only ever wanted the best for you. Starting to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.